Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are here for Kickstart Your Mystery Novel. And this is a really exciting week because this is the week before we begin the inaugural, the first, the only mystery course is starting next week at this time. So I was really excited to be able to do a Kickstart with all of you here. And I'm just going to start sharing my screen and get right into everything. I already see in the chat our very important word. Who was the first one today? Alex was the first one to get it in today. Excellent. Kindness is our word. And hello, everyone, wherever you are in the world. And look at that. Kindness from Northwest. And I'm going to say PA. Is that Philadelphia? Pennsylvania. I'm just making random guesses now. Oh, good. Alex gave me a slight nod, so I think I'm okay. Okay, welcome, welcome. And from Kansas City. So we are doing Kickstart Your Mystery Novel today. Are there some new people? Can you put in the chat? Now we are recording this. So if you come off mute, you'll be on record. But if you don't, you can just there. Oh, good. Hi, Daniel. Lovely to see you here. And who else have we got? Yes, Jen is here. And there's some familiar faces here. We have Leah and Alex and Brandy and Deb. And I just see a whole bunch of great, wonderful people. Hi, Kestrel, too. So good. And Kathleen, welcome. You're also new. John, yes. I thought I recognized you over there in the corner. Welcome, welcome. So, here we are. I'm going to introduce myself and introduce the Kickstart, and then we're going to play today. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Kickstart Your Mystery Novel. Who are we? And I say we, even though Christina couldn't join us today, because Christina and I have been working on this book together for over a year now, and we're very excited because it's very close to coming to you. So Christina Stanley is the CEO and founder of Fictionary. She has written, this is the 6th book that she'll be working on in this particular series, as well as her own series that she's written of fiction books and another standalone book that she's done. So lots and lots of books. This is my first published book. Very excited about that. My name's Lisa Taylor. I am a Fictionary certified story coach, editor, and an instructor. And I am our like mystery / series expert just because that's what I do. I have loved mystery since I was a little girl, and I have been working on series and mysteries with a number of different authors now. Mainly I'm editing, but as a few of you know, I'm working on my first mystery series as well with you in Novel November. So that brings up the question, what is a mystery? Now, can you put in the chat what a mystery is to you? And it's just what it is to you. Don't worry about any judgment or anything else. Remember, there's a reason that kindness is our word. We are kind to ourselves, kind to others, and kind to our readers in creating great structure for our stories. So Susan says, a whodunit. And we've got an unsolved question. A novel where the ending is unknown, discovering answers for something unknown, solving the unknown, and protecting the innocent. That's really cool. I'm going to add that in too. So Alex has said that. Our definition for the book, because this is such a big genre, and I'm going to be talking about that, is a crime is committed and it must be solved. So that's the general definition that we're using here. And I grew up, John, as well, reading all those old mysteries. And we actually looked at a Raymond Chandler book in our initial work to get a real sense of what some mysteries are like. The genre umbrella is huge. So we're going to break this down for you. A mystery we're going to call where when a crime is committed and it has to be solved. With a cozy mystery, we'll think of that as a crime that is committed and must be solved. So it's a mystery, but the search for clues is done by a novice. And cozies have a wonderful background with setting and with expectations for your reader about it being very low violence generally and very low spice or anything else. In a police procedural, we talked about how the crime is solved is one of the main things that we're looking at in a police procedural. So the focus is more on how that crime is solved and following the police procedure. A detective mystery is a search for clues by the professional. So somebody that knows how they do this. Then the thriller. A thriller, the protagonist is different in that the protagonist has to stop the antagonist. There are high stakes, there are usually time constraints. Thrillers can be either ones that are very big international thrillers, or there can be very small domestic thrillers where often it's that sense of confined and community and tightness that cause some of that tension as well. Then the last group that we looked at was psychological thriller, which is that journey into the protagonist coming to grips with a crime, and understanding it. The crime's committed, and it's all about the darkness and the motives and just the darkness of the mind. Interestingly, with a psychological thriller, you may or may not know what the crime is, and you may or may not know who the antagonist is. So let's look at this. And can you put in the chat, is anyone here that's joined us writing a mystery or writing a mystery type that isn't covered here, that we haven't talked about yet? If you can throw that in the chat. So we've looked at mysteries, cozies. When you think about it, mysteries, cozies, and detectives have a very tight connection with each other. Police procedural is going even more technical than a detective and really looking at how that's done. And then the thrillers and the psychological thrillers really have a slightly different edge to them. So we've got some psychological thrillers, cozies, some YA. The great thing, I see a cozy series here. And the great thing about writing a series, and I'm a big proponent of series, is that you really are building up your reader base and it gives you this wonderful connection with the characters and you get to really know them well. So where do you put in romantic suspense? Excellent question. With a romantic suspense, we're looking at the two things being melded together. So the romance and the mystery. And we actually use in the book that we've written, we're using Mean Streak as an example of romance suspense. But romance, it can also be a romance and a thriller aspect to it. And I think that some of you probably have read, I'm thinking Nikki's book that may have something more with that thriller aspect as well. Alex is working on a romance murder mystery and more police procedural. This is one really exciting thing is leaning into the understanding of how the crime is solved is really, really fun. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to come back. I have to say something. So there's Jen's working on a darkly comic murder mystery. And one of the other books that we used for our book was called Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. And it is just humorous as well as being just a great mystery story as well. But let's talk about your books. That's why I asked you what you were writing. With your book, you need to have some decisions made up front to really get a sense of. And some people write, whether you're a discovery writer and you just write the whole story and then you discover where your structure is afterwards, or whether you're a planner and you've got everything laid out. Both types of people write mysteries and love to write mysteries because they have so much within them. What you need first is to figure out who your protagonist and your point of view characters are. And you have some thoughts and questions to answer there. You have a few choices for your story. For your protagonist is the character that the entity that your reader is following the story through. This is the person that's aiming for the story goal. They're the one that has the most to win or lose at the end. They're the entity that the reader sees this world through. Now, I said entity because you could have a single protagonist, which is an individual who is chasing after that story goal, who has to solve the crime. You could have a combined protagonist, which is two characters who both have the same story goal and the same story stakes. So everything affects them positively or negatively towards getting towards that story goal the same way, but they're very different characters. We sometimes talk about the combined just as a quick, because it's a movie, is Thelma and Louise, where it's a combined and they both have everything affects them both the same way, getting to that goal. The group protagonist, that's a team, right? That's the group that's aiming for it. It can be as big as humankind. It can be as small as a small team of, say, a police team that are working together to solve the crime. Now, that is different. The protagonist is different than your point of view. And point of view, you need to decide how you want to go about this. If you have a single protagonist, you have a couple of choices. You could go with a single POV, or you could have multiple points of view with still following that single protagonist. If you have a combined or a group, you are going to use a multiple POV strategy. Otherwise, if you have a single POV strategy, your reader is going to feel. So if they only see the world through one character's eyes, they're going to feel that that is your protagonist. If you choose to have only one POV, the reader is going to feel that that's your protagonist, a single protagonist. So you want to think about that. There are ways to get around that, but you can think about that as if you're going to choose your protagonist strategy as well. Okay, in a lot of mysteries, we often have a single detective or sleuth who is aided by a lot of different people, but who is the person who solves the crime in the end, and who is the person that the readers follow through to see getting to that story goal. How about you? Do you have that plan already for your story? So currently, I'm looking at using a single protagonist, but with multiple points of view. With a single protagonist with a single point of view, the reader can only learn what the detective learns, and they learn it with the detective. That gives the reader a really in-depth feeling of being that detective, and what an exciting road that is. I've decided to go with the single protagonist, but with multiple points of view to add to the tension through reader knowledge. Because this way, the reader can know things that the detective doesn't know, and that adds to the tension. Both of them give tension, they just create tension in different ways. Now, if you're choosing your other POV, your multiple POVs, you want to be very careful of who you decide to give a POV. Because once we're inside someone's head or seeing the world in their way, if I've committed a major crime, that's going to be part of something that's quite on the top of my mind of not getting caught. So try to avoid the antagonist or the culprit, but we've seen great examples of ways that you can get around that too. So there's no cut and dry. There's no absolutes. Your story is going to have what you need it to have. The reason I talked about protagonists and point of view to start off with is because we want this beautiful skeleton blurb. So at Fictionary, we talk about skeleton blurbs a lot because they are for the writer or for the editor, if you're, or for yourself as an editor of your own work. They're the thing that's the gold, the touchstone, the thing that shows you whether every scene in your story belongs in your story. And the skeleton blurb is really simple. The simplest moment is it's the protagonist must attain the story goal. Otherwise, the story stakes. The protagonist, so in our case, we're going to look at the sleuth, right? Must solve the crime. Otherwise, the murderer will get away, there'll be more death, and the world will not be safe. So we have your protagonist is your sleuth or your group of sleuths. The story goal is to solve the mystery or to solve the murder. And when you're thinking about that story goal, think about your victim. You can put your victim directly into your story goal. So, Joe must solve Sam's murder otherwise. And so we've already got two of our characters in there. And that, what is that otherwise? The story stakes. Why is it important that this gets solved? Well, you might want to stop more murders. You might want to stop more crime. But also, mystery readers love seeing the justice served. They want to see that ending. And that's why our climax is so important. I see people doing all kinds of first person, multiple, first person, single. That's great. So, what is your hook? Is it your sleuth? What is catching you about your story right now? Is it the kind of sleuth that you've come up with? Is it something about the victim that really is driving you to tell this story? Maybe they're just a really horrible person and you're having a lot of fun finding out why so many people would have wanted to kill them. And then finally, the story stakes. Maybe that's what's giving you your hook. Maybe getting that justice back in the world is the thing that's so important. What's the cool, intriguing mystery twist that you're thinking about? Hold on to that for now. I'm going to get you to talk about it in a little bit. In order to develop your story, you need the base structure. And so the first structure we're going to talk about is the story arc scenes. These are the fictionary story arc scenes, and they're the universal scenes. They've been researched well by Christina. They have, with that research, she's come up with these scenes as the key 5 scenes. Whatever different structure you look at, when you go into it deeply, you're going to see these 5 story arc scenes within that structure. It's really exciting how this gives you the base that you need to build your story on. So you start with the inciting incident. That's the shakeup of the protagonist's world. Then, in plot point 1, they accept the story goal. And if you like the 3-act structure, this is often the break into the first act, or sorry, break into the second act. At the middle, your protagonist gets proactive. They go from reacting, thinking it's an easy goal, to really going after the goal. Then at plot point 2, dark night of the soul, this is that worst moment and that final piece of information that they need in order to even have a chance of attaining the story goal. What I love about plot point 2, moment where they really don't think that they'll get it, and little bit of thing that may help them get it. It's the thing that gets them when you feel completely depressed and are sure that you can never attain something, you need that little push to pull yourself forward to get to that. Otherwise, they would just stay wallowing in plot point two. Then we get to the climax. Address the story goal. They may attain it, they may not. It doesn't matter whether it's a happy ending or a sad ending, but this is the biggest payoff of all for your reader. And they've come all this way to find out if the protagonist attains that story goal or not. And you got them there. So that's the universal story arc. We're going to go through this from a mystery point of view and really build this mystery. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth because I think today is a day that we really, really need to create a mystery. Let's do it. So we need a crime. Can someone throw a crime into the chat? We're going to have a crime. I think we should have a murder personally. Who are we going to kill? Let's kill someone off. So I'll take the first one that I see, and as I'm doing that, you will see me pull up. Okay. Oh. Brandy's offered to be the victim, but Daniel's come up with an idea, and I'm going to put that in too. So here we go. To create a new project, I am in Storyteller. I'm not going to import a manuscript. I'm going to outline or write a novel. Now, we have got a universal outline, fantasy, romance. And then for those of you that have been following how to do a series, we also actually have, for an open series and a closed series, we have outlines for that. And then you can always go with no outline. That was how we all started, with no outline. It is fun to use an outline now. And coming soon to a spot very much like this, we are going to have the mystery outline. It is very close. We are working on it, so you will have that coming up, and that will be available for everyone in the mystery class to start off with, and then, of course, to everybody that's got the Fictionary app. We're going to start, though, because it doesn't exist quite yet. We're going to start with the universal. So you just click on universal, and it just works there, populating. I'm going to call this mystery. And as it does that, it's just working away in the background. What happens though is that, as well as populating all the scenes that I might need, it also, in the notes, gives you a whole bunch of information. Right now we're in the universal one, so it's for everything. The romance gives you the very specific romance information, and the fantasy gives you the very focused fantasy. Soon, mystery will give the same thing. So we're going to start off with our cast of characters. We are going to add Brandy because Brandy's going to be our victim. And I'm actually going to use the middle name to tell me who that is. And then I saw we have our culprit. This may not be the culprit. I'm just going to say suspect. And I need I am so sorry. I missed the waiting room. So welcome everyone that's just coming in. And because Viv's been so patient, I think Viv's going to be our detective today. There we go.
Goody, at least I'm not the victim.
Yeah, you missed getting a chance to be the victim. Sorry about that. Sleuth. There we go. Okay, that's our starter for now. So what Oh, hi, Carl. Yes? Oh, okay. I'm setting Viv as the sleuth so that I can go in and go into my story blurb at the top. And now you see already protagonist has been filled in for me. So I'm going to come up with my story goal. We're killing Brandy. Viv must find Brandy's killer. Oh, nice spelling of Brandy here. Brandy.
No.
And the story stakes are, or more will die. That's just a nice straightforward one to start us off. So now when I go into story blurb, that's going to pop up. Viv must find Brandy's killer, otherwise more will die. We can use that to figure out all of our story arc scenes. We're going to do this is going to be the quickest ever, but you are going to have to help me, so be ready to add some things in. So, crime committed, inciting incident. Go into evaluate, go into that beautiful inciting incident, and we are not going to be creating the whole story today. We are only going to create our 5 story arc scenes, and all we're going to do for those is the main event, just the what that happens, not the how or the why. We're not going to worry about all of the suspects and all of the motives and all of the everything else. What would really shake up Viv's world? I think Viv should find the body. What do you think? Start it off with find the body, I see. Or do
Yes.
you? Okay, we're good. We're going to go with that. So I'm going to put this right here. Viv finds Brandy's body. Okay, sorry, Brandy, you're already dead. You didn't get much chance to live. Okay, so in the shakeup, she finds a dead body. That is a huge shakeup for someone in a cozy. That's crazy. Especially if this is the first in a series, can you imagine what it would be like to be the very first time you find a dead body? So she's found this dead body. It's shaken her to her core, but she doesn't think she's going to solve the crime. Not yet. That's definitely not the first thing. Okay. Oh, here we go. We've got more information. She's going to be stabbed with a letter opener. There we go. Okay, so now we go to plot point 1, of course. In plot point 1, our reluctant sleuth, still very reluctantly, she's going to accept the story goal. She's going to come to the realization that she must solve this crime. Now, with a cozy, with these kind of amateur sleuths, we really have to have a reason for it. So there has to be some compelling reason that Viv is the person that can solve this crime, not just leave it to the police. So what could we make for Viv's reason for solving this crime? Often it has to do with somebody that they love, or yeah, and Kestrel, exactly. Police think that she did it. So here is poor Viv. Poor Viv has walked into a room, has found Brandy lying or sitting or standing. Well, probably not standing with a letter opener in her. And the police have decided that she is the one. So she's going to have to solve this crime. There's no other option. And Brandy's going to be sprawled. Okay, and so Viv must. Viv is she going to be arrested, or is she just going to be suspected? What do you think, people?
She's not going to be arrested.
Okay, we're just going to have her suspect. Viv picked being a suspect as well. Not surprisingly, Viv wanted to be a suspect.
I can't detect much from behind bars.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so Viv is suspected by the police. So she realizes that and worries because her whole family, this is from somebody else's, is coming this weekend for a reunion. She just can't be in jail, right? She can't be in jail. Not only that, she actually didn't commit the murder. So, she also probably shouldn't be charged for something that she did not do. So she can't be in jail. So here she is. She's been suspected by the police, and her focus now is, though, split because she wants to keep her family safe, right? And they're all coming this weekend. So she's got that concern. She's got the police suspecting her. She's got Brandy sprawled on the floor with a letter opener. I forgot about sprawled. That was a beautiful sound telling me I'm going to go over time today. Okay, sprawled. So we have the inciting incident. We have plot point 1. We're going to keep jumping. In the middle plot point, the protagonist takes action. But what's really cool about a middle plot point in the murder mysteries is that there's this big shift in the investigation. And that shift, it often comes from that false victory or defeat, and it leads the detective in a completely new direction. Now, there are a lot of different ways that that can happen, but what do we want to have happen? We can have dead bodies. I think we should save this second dead body for plot point 2. So if we jump ahead to plot point 2, which is a big change in this story direction, and it raises the stakes, I'm going to jump down to plot point 2, and I'm going to say, who's going to die? Okay, Kestrel's going to die. Kestrel dies due to Viv's investigation. Oh, Viv, we can't trust you at all. So now with Kestrel dying, we know what our middle plot point's going to be. Viv has to get Kestrel involved in this. Viv calls Kestrel and discovers Kestrel stole Brandy's horror story idea and is publishing faster than Brandy. Are you upset now, Brandy? That would be, yeah, like, you wish you're alive, don't you? I bet you do. Okay, so Kestrel's out there. She's got, Viv really is determined. Like, at the middle plot point, Viv discovers Kestrel's been stealing from Brandy. She's looking like she's completely guilty. Viv goes well after Kestrel. Then we get to plot point 2. Not only was Kestrel innocent, but now she's dead. That's a pretty low plot point for poor Viv. And has she proven to the police that she's not involved? Well, she's been chasing Kestrel around for a long time now. And I mean, that's a little suspicious. So now she's even more in the questionable of what she will do. So here we go. We have to have her solve the crime at the end. What or who really did it? Well, we have the mob boss still in there. So that seems like a bit of a twist at this point. Is there some, I feel like that's too big a twist unless we put something in. You know what? Let's go for it. Okay. Let's see. Daniel gave us an idea. So Daniel, the mob boss, confesses. There you go. Why is that necessary? Because Viv has no right to even question him, right? So in a cozy, you really need a point where you get that opportunity to hear what the victim, or sorry, what the culprit's reason was for doing what they're doing. Okay. Why would a mob boss kill Brandy? Does anybody have any suggestions?
I used an actual killing for the plot of one of my books.
That's a great, great thing. Okay, so now we need to inch this in some way. I love these moments when you're outlining or when you're going back through a book that you've written and finding these moments where you can add them in. So we know we need the plot, we need the mob boss to be mentioned earlier. So we're going to put the mob boss way back in the inciting incident. So Viv finds Brandy's body sprawled out with a letter opener under her, or her new manuscript is close by. Okay, Viv, you're going to steal it just because, before the police get there. I don't want Brandy's work to go to anybody else. And mentions source and mob boss by name. So when she picks it up, it's like it kind of says based on Joe, based on Daniel Howard. And so immediately we know we've mentioned Daniel Howard at the very beginning in the inciting incident. And so when he comes up, and he'll show up then later in the story as well. Do you see how you can weave in those suspects without making them huge suspects? And then that's your culprit in the end. Okay, exactly. Murder we wrote. That is ours. Here we go. I'm going to jump back in. So we now have solved the mystery. Just a reminder, we've got all the books. We've got the mystery book coming out. I have gone over time, so this is going to definitely be cut when you all see it later. And I just wanted to mention, though, our Fictionary Live, very first time, from first clue to final reveal, or Whodunit, a deep dive into mystery structure is going to start on Wednesday next week, Wednesday, November 5th, from 2 to 3. I'll be teaching it. Christina will be there. We're going to be looking forward to all of your work. If you are outlining a mystery, have all of that ready. If you're putting a subplot in, bring that along. We're really excited to see everyone again. And thank you so much for participating when we are taping. This is so much fun. We don't normally record, and I look forward to seeing everyone next